Good morning, everyone. It's Carol Featherstone at Cooking by Carol. We've had a little hiatus of doing the live videos, but now that Christmas is over and things are getting to be cold and we're supposed to be getting all of this snow and ice, but hopefully in North Myrtle Beach where I live, we're only going to get maybe some rain, some cold rain. But I feel sorry for all you people that's up in North Carolina, which is expecting to get maybe 15 inches of snow and a lot of ice. So my prayers will be with you that everything will be okay and everybody will be able to survive what they're calling is one of the worst storms we've ever had. So we'll see how it all works out. All right, this morning I'm going to do a creamy shrimp and wild rice casserole. The original recipe is with chicken, but I thought that I would change it up and maybe do a seafood dish today because we haven't done one of those before, and it's chicken, something that everybody has all the time. So as I put it together, I'm going to give you what you can do with the chicken so that you could either do one or the other. So we're starting off this morning. To make things go a little faster, I cooked the rice. Yesterday when I went to the grocery store, obviously everybody had heard that we were going to have some snow. So it's like everywhere you go. Everybody's rushing to the grocery store to get milk and bread. All I needed was some rice. And I went in the grocery store and I was looking for long grain and wild rice. Well, they didn't have any. And I don't know why, but it was gone. But I found this rice. It's basmati, white, brown, wild, and red rice. So I used this instead of just the wild rice and long grain rice. So I cooked it in, you take a cup of rice with a cup and a half of water. You let the water come to a boil. You put the salt in to your taste, just a little bit. I put about a half a teaspoon in. And then you put your rice in when it starts to boil. And then you turn your oven back down to simmer and you cook your rice with the lid on. And then let it cook for about 15 minutes. Then you turn it off, you stir it really well, put your lid on, and let it sit there for 5 minutes. Once you do that, you take it out, you take I took a fork, and you just fluff the rice up. So what you're going to see is the end result, and even though it's been in a container with the lid on, it's still very fluffy. And I put about a half a teaspoon of salt and about a half a teaspoon of pepper. And you just put it in your casserole dish like this. All right, then you add a pound of shrimp. And I took the whole shrimp and I cut them in half like this. This is very difficult for anybody to eat a whole shrimp. So we cut them in half, and now you add your shrimp to your rice. And you just stir all this up together. Okay, and then we're adding a half a cup of sour cream, and we just do it like this. Just take it out of your container and use a spoon. You always use your spatula here to get everything off of the spoons that you use. All right, so we've done that. And now we're going to add a can of cream of mushroom soup. And you just take your thing and get it really well so you get all the soup out. That's something a lot of people don't do, but you always want to get everything out of your cans that you can, because if it didn't want a can of mushroom soup or a can of chicken soup or whatever soup you have to use. So, all right, throw this in the trash. All right, and then you're going to stir. You're going to get this all stirred up. And to help it, it's a cup of half and half. So you pour your half and half in. I'm lucky because I have a sink right here at me with some hot soapy water that we can put all the dirty dishes in. So it helps when you're getting ready to do it. All right, so you've got all this done, all stirred up. You can see how it is. And prior to going online this morning, I took 4 stalks of celery, and they were chopped, and 1 medium onion chopped. And you take a half a stick of butter, and you put these on the oven, on the surface unit, sorry, in a big frying pan, and you do it for about 10 minutes until they get sort of translucent in color. So I'm taking my pot here that we've done all of this in, and this is a heavy pot, sometimes hard to balance, and you take your onion and your, I'm going to use my spatula again to get all of it out of the pan, and in it goes. Do all the mixture, and you see it's really creamy, and that gives it the name, the creamy casserole. And then we have 1 can of water chestnuts that have been chopped. So you can see they're just little pieces that I'm going to put in here as well, and stir those in really good. And as I said, I put the salt and pepper on the rice before I put it in the casserole dish. Now we have, this is a 6-ounce package of grated Parmesan cheese. So you want to put almost all of that in your casserole. And then this is white, sharp cheddar cheese. So with the recipe that had the chicken, it called for regular sharp cheddar cheese, which is yellow. But I got this because it's white, and you take half of it out of your, it calls for 3 cups. So you take a cup and a half and put it in your casserole, and you just combine it like this. You just keep stirring and stirring, and till you get all the cheese mixed up into everything else. You can see how creamy it looks. And there we go. All right, it's all incorporated. And somewhere, here we go. We have a 9 by 13, maybe not quite as big, but we're going to take it and we're going to put it into your casserole dish. The original recipe, I guess I did it years ago when I did my catering, is it was twice as much ingredients as what I'm using this morning. But that makes an enormous casserole dish. And if you're having company and you want to, have them come over and you have an easy dish to do, this is one of them. Because it does, if you twice the amount of ingredients that I'd used this morning, you can certainly have it for a great big crowd of people. And as I said, this originally had chicken in it, and so I decided to change it up with the shrimp and use the different things for it. So if you do use the chicken, it's 5 cups of cooked diced chicken. And you just add that like we did the shrimp. Same ingredients all together except for the cheese, and you want to use the yellow sharp cheddar cheese. So what we're doing is we've got it in the casserole. We've got it all spread out. Now we're going to put breadcrumbs. These, and I don't know how everybody else is, but I use whatever bread I had. I had some hot dog buns that was just sitting there, and I knew I wasn't going to use any more of them. We had hot dogs the other day for dinner. So what I did was I took the hot dog buns and I put them in my food processor, which is great to do breadcrumbs with. And you just sprinkle them over the top. Make sure that there's no lumps in them. And spread them over the top of your casserole like I'm doing right here. it called for 2 cups of the breadcrumbs, and you want to make sure that you get them completely covered with it. I don't really think it's going to take them all, but I'm going to put them all on there because oh mercy. That was the mixing bowl. It decided to go sideways on me. So, scared me a little bit. All right, so we're leaving out so 3 ounces of the Parmesan cheese we're leaving out, and we're leaving out 1.5 cups of the cheddar cheese. And we're going to leave it until it is time to maybe 5 minutes. We're going to put this in a 350-degree oven, and we're going to leave it in for approximately 30 minutes. Oh, wrong oven, sorry. So we'll just stick it in the oven, and it will be about 30 minutes for it to cook. So we're leaving this right here, and when it comes out, we will have the cheeses that will go on the top for the last 5 minutes of the baking, because many times if you use cheese and you put it in the casserole, it's going to cook creamy. But if you put it on top of the casserole, it has a tendency to want to burn, and you don't want that to happen. You want it to be a creamy casserole like the recipe says. So I'm putting all this aside, and we also are going to use toasted sliced almonds. You can take regular sliced almonds and toast them yourself, but to save time, this morning I decided to go on and buy the ones that are already toasted, and we will put those on top of the casserole in the last 5 minutes of the baking as well. So we're going, while that is cooking, I'll put this all aside right here. While that is cooking, we're going to do a dessert. Let me get cleaned up right here from all the mess I've created with the breadcrumbs, so I can get all this cleaned off. Get all this into the all right, there we go. Now we're going to make a dessert that is going to be a little different from what you've probably had before, and I'm going to have to move some things over here on the counter. So we're going to move the mixer over here, and this morning, this is called a turtle trifle. And I kind of clean off where I did this right here. And we have the wire wisp that goes with the KitchenAid mixer that we're going to use this morning to do this. And I need to get all this undone and get the mixer plugged in. Right here, it's so nice to have your electricity that you can plug in things here on the island in order to be able to not have to have my back to you, so that you can see what I'm doing. All right, so first of all, you take a pie, a pecan pie, and you can get one of your choice. It's a frozen pie, and you just let it thaw out and take it out of your wrapper. Of course, anything you buy like this has always got the wrap on it to keep it fresh. Okay, and you take a cutting board, and you're going to take the pie and you're going to dump it out of its cover. And I'm going to get a knife and we're going to take the pie and we're going to cut it in half like this. And then we're going to cut it in half this way, kind of like you would cut a pie that you want to serve pieces to. And you're going to wind up with 8 pieces of pie. Okay? This is a trifle bowl. I don't know how many of you have one. If you don't, it's okay. You don't have to do necessarily in a bowl like this. You can have a nice bowl of your own, but I've been making trifle for years. So now what I want to do is you want to go back and you want to cut each one of these pieces in half. So, and it kind of gets gooey and messy, but that's okay, because that makes it even yummier to eat. So you do all this. All right, so see what you have right here is all that pie cut. All right, so what you're going to do now is you're going to take your knife and you're going to go around in a circle. And you're going to have the pieces that are about an inch in size. But you want to go through and you cut them all the way through so that you have pieces that look like this. It's about an inch in size, but that makes it easy for you to use. Okay, now I'm going to sort of set these aside for a minute. And I am going to take an 8-ounce package of cream cheese that's been softened. You're going to find in my cookbook that it's either got butter in it or it's got cream cheese in it. I love these 2 items. If you don't have any cream cheese and you want to make this, you can always make a pecan pie. But this is just an easy, quick recipe that we hope everybody could, you know, last minute, if you had guests coming in that you didn't realize you were going to have and you wanted to fix a really tasty dessert, then this would be. But you could use mascarpone cheese as well as the cream cheese. But I had cream cheese at home and I just left it out overnight and let it get softened, which is to room temperature. And you're going to put it in your mixer. And you're going to take 1.5 cups of whipping cream. And I find it really hard this morning to get this open. Come on now. There we go. All right. I had let this get really cold in the refrigerator last night and then just took it out this morning. And you're going to take 1/2 cup of this. And you're going to pour it, 1.5 cups, into your mixing bowl with your cream cheese. There you go. All right. And then, of course, you're going to put it back in the refrigerator. And then one of the things that I think is really important that people don't always do is you've got to use a really good brand of vanilla extract. Because if you don't, you aren't going to get the flavors that you need. And this is a brand new bottle. I just picked it up yesterday. And so you're just going to I kind of eyeball it, but it's about 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. And you can smell the difference between vanilla extract, a really good pure extract, or one that is flavored, so to speak. So you take your mixer and you're going to turn it on. Make sure you get everything combined with the cream cheese, because it has a tendency to want to splash. And I was telling Mark this morning, Mark is my marketing person, and he's the one filming us this morning, and he likes to cook as well. And I was telling him about seeing this new item that they have out, that KitchenAid does, that you can put it right here and have it stable, and it comes out to about right here, and you can put all your dry ingredients in it, and it keeps it from splashing everywhere or getting all over you, which is hard not to do when you're doing it. So you want to turn it on to 8, and it's going to do a whipped topping, and it's getting really thick quickly. Okey-dokey. All right, now you see how quickly it got thick. You're going to take it, and you're going to always just take mine. And another thing I saw the other day is that they have a thing that fits right here now. It's round, and when you take it out and you want to clean your beaters off, you just pull it off, and it takes everything off. So there's not much left on these today. So, all right, so we're going to take this off and just move this aside. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your pecan pie and you're going to put it in the bottom of your dish. That one didn't get cut. And do it with the crust side down, because that'll make it not so gooey and sticky when you try to get it up. And every piece is not going to be exactly like it's supposed to be. Some of them are a little bit bigger than others, but that's okay. It's just the gist of trying to get, and you do the outside first so that the crust will be on the bottom, the top of the crust, pie crust, and then you're putting this all in the bottom of this dish. Okay, there we go. Now, we're going to take a spoon, and we're going to take half of this, well, maybe not half, a good bit of it. You just take your spoon and make it smooth around. Keep on smoothing it out. You want it to be pretty when you look at it on the side of the dish, so you try to be careful and not get so much on it, so it'll be pretty and pretty. Now, we have nuts. These are walnuts that have been chopped, and you just take them and you just sprinkle them in your bowl like this. Not a whole lot on each layer, but just a little bit, because you've already got your pecans that you used, that were used in the pie. All right, then we're going to take, these are Hershey syrups that you can buy in the grocery store. One is chocolate and this one is caramel. So what you're going to do is you just shake them up really good, and then you're going to take it and you're going to kind of go across it like this. Just go around and across with the caramel. And then you're going to do the same thing with the chocolate. Just like that. Okay? And then we're going to go and we're going to start and we're going to make another layer of the pecan pie. And your fingers are going to get pretty sticky. There's just no way around it unless you want to put on a pair of the gloves like you can, deal with when you're maybe in a public place and you have to wear gloves to handle the food. But this morning, I'm just doing it like this with my hands. And you're making another layer completely. That one wants to stick too much. You're going to find that you can just sort of do it like you feel like when you're picking it up and handling it, because some of it's falling apart, which is normal. This has got a lot of goo in it, which is good, because the goo is what makes it, makes the pecan pie so tasty. So there's another piece that just fell off, so you just put it in there. Doesn't necessarily have to be a certain size. I just suggested doing it like this because it seems to be the easier. I'm going to have to wash my hands off right quick to be able to get this. Okay. And then we're going to go back to the whipped cream and the cream cheese. And you're going to make another layer. And you're going to continue doing this until you use all of your ingredients. Now, this is a large trifle bowl, and it is not going to fill it up. But if you have a crowd, there again, you can double the recipe, and you'll have plenty for your company. And as I said, this is a very easy recipe to do. And I'm trying to do things. You'll find out that all the recipes that I'm doing for you right now are not in the cookbook. So I'm giving you bonus recipes that you'll have, as well as this will give you some idea of the caliber of recipes that's going to be in the book. And they are really good recipes. I have worked diligently to try to pick out the best recipes that I've had over the years, and things that I have created, things that I have gotten from other people. You will find in the cookbook that there are a lot of people's names on top of recipes. Several of my mother's friends, several of my grandmother's friends, a lot of my grandmother's recipes, some of my mother-in-law's, and some of my husband's grandmother. And it really is a great book. It's so much a variety of things that are going to be in it. We have a category that we couldn't figure out what to do with some of the recipes, so we're calling it this and that. So that way, if you're just looking for something a little different, you're going to find it in this and that category. All right, we're making another layer of the pecan pie. And this is just falling off, but that's okay. We're just going to put it in there like this. Needless to say, this is a very rich dessert. And if anyone is allergic to nuts, this is definitely not the recipe for them. It is just something that you can make at the last minute. Also, you will find in some of the grocery stores that they have the little tart size pecan pies, and you can use those. Those might be a little bit easier to control of how they fall apart, like this is doing. But this is truly a delicious, rich dessert. So we've got one more layer right here to do, and I don't think I'm going to use the rest of them because it's genuinely done. So we're going to take the rest of our cream cheese and whipped cream that's left in our bowl, and we're going to spread it out. If you find that you don't really have enough left to do it all, you can always go back in and take some whipped cream and add a little bit of powdered sugar to it and make it to where you will have some extra in here. But I think we're going to wind up having just enough to cover the top. So it's spread out all across the top here. It's not a thick topping, and you want to press it down so it'll be equal all over. And there's still a little bit more left in here. Try to get as much as we can to cover it up. Actually, probably could have used 2 cups of the half and half instead of just the 1. Okay, then you're going to take your nuts. I just brought a lot of extra nuts just in case, and you sprinkle all over the top. I like to have a thick on the top of this. Then you take your caramel and you want to drizzle it over the top. And then you're going to take your chocolate and you're going to drizzle it over the top. And that is called a pumpkin, excuse me, I don't know why I've got pumpkin in my brain. This is called a pecan pie turtle trifle. And the name from the turtle gets because of the combination of your chocolate and your caramel. And you want to refrigerate it at least an hour, but it's better if you cover it and refrigerate it overnight. It has all the time for the flavors to gel together. and it is going to be a delicious, delicious dessert. So I'm going to just right now put it aside, and we're going to see how our shrimp is doing it in the oven. Get my hands cleaned off so I won't. And y'all gonna find out that I am just as honest as I can be, and we're trying to get everything so that you can see how I do it. But you know, we have a mess when we get through that we have to clean up. But Mark and Jason Killam are the young men who are so kind to let me come and work in their kitchen. They have a gorgeous kitchen. At my kitchen, it's a pretty kitchen as well, but I would have my back to you the whole time. So Jason and Mark have been extremely kind to let me come over here and do this. So I'm gonna look in the oven right now, and we're gonna see what's happening. Oh, it's bubbling, which is what it's supposed to do. So we're gonna take this. Let me move this pan right here. And we're going to take this out of the oven because the breadcrumbs are, you can see the breadcrumbs have turned brown on us, and it's bubbling. So we're going to take it and put it right here, and then we're going to take the rest of our cheeses and the almonds. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this just barely on the top, just sprinkle it over the top. Because you've got a lot of cheese already in the casserole, but this gives it the name, creamy shrimp and wild rice casserole. All right, this is the white cheddar, and we've taken all of that and put it here, and then we're taking the rest of the Parmesan, and we're going to spread it over so it'll all be sort of combined together. Okay, and then we've got a little bit of the almonds that we're just going to sprinkle around on top. Mark's got it where you can see what I'm doing. You can actually see the casserole. And almonds are about the only nut you can use on this because they're flat, and you use almonds in a lot of things, so just kind of spread them around with your hand so they don't get all bunched up together. And then we're going to take and let the cheeses melt, and then it'll be ready to serve. So it's a delicious, delicious seafood dish, which is easy and quick. There again, if you have last minute guests coming in and you need to really do something, and you can use chicken, as I said, the results are not any different. It's just chicken instead of a seafood. And if I had had some crab meat at home, I probably would have added crab to the shrimp, which gives it a really rich flavor. So I hope all of you are getting ready for the storm. If you don't live close to us, but you're living, it's getting really cloudy here and the wind is blowing. I can look out the window and see what's happening. And my wishes for everybody is that you stay warm, you have electricity, and you have plenty to eat. So we'll be back next week again for another rendition of Cooking by Carol. And please go on the website and please share this with everyone that you know, because we want everybody to realize that this cookbook is coming out, and it's going to be things that, especially from my hometown area, people are going to recognize the people's names of the recipes, some of them, and you're going to go back to the years that I catered. So have a great rest of your weekend, and we will see you next week.